Hey everybody, this is Dave with Patriot Laser Engraving. Today I want to talk about the rotary tool. What I'm not going to tell you is how to use it. That's going to be for a whole nother video, I'm sure. One of the things I did want to talk about were the jaws that you have. When you place those back into your rotary, sometimes they don't align up perfectly. And I also want to share with you some experiences that I had with the rotary. It develops surface rust. I don't know if you've noticed that or not with yours. It's the standard Chinese issue. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to take care of that surface rust and prevent it going forward, and how to handle rapid replacement of your jaws in your rotary tool and get them in and out quick and have them perfectly aligned. So they are keyed, and this video will show you how that's done. So sit tight and we'll get right into it. All right, we're back. This is Dave with Patriot Laser Engraving. We're going to talk about the rotary tool. As I was explaining early on, one of the problems that I had with this particular rotary, and this is your standard Chinese flavor, is that the surface will typically rust on you. It'll develop some surface rust over time, especially depending on your shop conditions. You'll find that this will eventually develop some surface rust. So I'm going to tell you what I did to solve that problem. The other thing I wanted to talk about was basically when you have your jaws inside your chuck, you'll notice if you don't have these in the proper order, there is an order to them that when you bring them together, they won't align up. So you'll have a gap. You'll have a gap sitting in here where you don't need it, and that's because these are not in the proper order. These actually do come in proper order from the factory, and if you are like me, yours came with additional sets. These are just reverse jaws that you can put in to hold different sized objects. So let's quickly just talk about the rusting here with this particular rotary. All I did was I hit this with some quadruple-aught steel wool, and I took some rattle can spray paint. I taped this off really well, not to get the aluminum. I had a little bit of overspray, but nothing too terrible. Anyway, I spray painted this blue, and if I take the jaws out of this particular chuck, I even sprayed inside a little bit just to be able to coat the inside. I didn't really want that to start developing any kind of rust as well. So as you can see, I did spray inside there. Now these, if your rotary is, and if the jaws are aligning perfectly, then I would stop, and the first thing that I would do is I would label which is which. Just, you can use tape or something or a marker and just mark each one of these with a letter or a number or whatever you'd like, corresponding to with what you have. And I just basically, I laser engraved mine. I just did a marking with mine, and then when I painted this, I came back behind it and I just marked off I just etched off the paint to give me the lettering system that I've got on my chuck. But that will help you tremendously when you go to put these back in, because if you don't, then you're not going to align. But doing so, I can take my pieces and put them in real quick now, and not have to worry about whether or not they're in any particular order, and that they'll align. And I'm just kind of I'm doing this from behind the camera, so I can't really see too well. All right, so now that I've got them in here, I'm just going to apply a little bit of forward pressure on all of them until they start to take, just like that. And then once they do, I'm going to start spinning this in. Oops, what happened? Well, I can tell you what happened. Even though I have these in proper order, A, B, and C, I wanted to invoke this failure so that I can tell you what to do if that happens. The reason that happens is because these will click as they're going in, and you want to make sure they all seat that's the timing. So I'm gonna back them all back out until they're backed completely out, all completely out. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold that forward pressure, and I'm gonna continue to back these out, and you'll hear them click as I back them out. See it click? Click, click. And now I should be able to come forward, and I should line up. Oops, I didn't click the top one, my bad. I created my own failure here. There it is. 3 jaws, 3 clicks, my bad. Don't beat me up too bad in the comments. There it is, boom. So they will go back in there just right. A to A, B to B, and C to C. And if I were to switch my jaws out to the outer jaws, they would line up perfectly. And do kind of hold them a little bit, back them off till they click. That'll set the timing, and then bring them all in, and you will be lined exactly where you need to be. One of the other things that I did, I made some modifications to my table. And I'll show you that really fast, just because it is related to the Rotary. I'll move it out of the way. If you have the standard Chinese issued table, like I do, you can see you've got your standard set of rows, but oftentimes I want to move my chuck back. So all I did was I made some marks where I wanted to have the Rotary placed. And there are different settings. These are offset a little bit depending on the kinds of things that I do. And then I just drilled these, and I used a tap and die and drilled them with 6mm, or tapped them out for 6mm. So now basically all of my screws that work in my normal bed will all work no matter where they're at. And then I basically have an arm for my hose, and I've threaded that. I tapped that out for 6mm to fit this articulating arm. And if you ask what it is, because I know you'll be asking, this basically is nothing more than a vacuum hose, and this is a barcode scanner reader that I found, and I just fit the hose in here, give it a twist, and now I can articulate that wherever I want. I don't have a $1,500 or $2,000 fume extractor. I don't need one. I don't do a whole lot where I require it. Maybe some light smoke that comes off from a tumbler now and again, but most of the things that I do, I can extract out with a fan. All I'm using is just a small little inline fan to pull that out. Anyways, so that's it. That's all I wanted to show you about the Rotary and the Rotary chuck jaws, and how to get them labeled and exactly where you need them. So hopefully this was helpful. This is Dave with Patriot Laser Engraving, and I wish you all a great day.